Well, I'm not as pretty as this guy. Can we change this? Other way? Oh, thank you. Yeah. Sweet. There I am. In the only shirt that I own that I'm currently wearing right now. It's like my one business winter shirt. So, hey, thanks for having me. You guys are fun. I did like the question. I actually do that too when I speak too. You know, like, how long have you been in the business? But what I really want to know is who's been in the business the longest and who's been in the business the shortest. So of you 20-plussers, who thinks you, right here?
They're both sitting there, yeah.
So how about 25 plus?
He was here, he left.
Oh, he did?
He'll be back.
How long have you?
32.
32. Anybody beat 32? No? Congratulations, you win the award. I thought this was YPN. Who let this guy in?
I identify as a much younger person.
That's what I thought. And youngest? Do you have your license? No? Who has their license and has been in it less than a year? Raise your hand. Less than a year? Less? Couple? 3? Less than 6 months? Less than 3? Yeah, nice. You two should talk to each other.
We work
Yeah.
at the same firm.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Well, you win the award. Both of you at the same firm win the award. You can take that back to the office and be proud. So excited for you. Well, here's one other thing that I like to do is I love talking about how different all of us get to do this work and it still is okay. Isn't that interesting? Like, we have 10,000 realtors in Boise. How many do you have in Spokane? 2,500. That's a number I thought I'd heard. Nobody does what we do in Boise. Is there anybody that has a business model in here where nobody is doing what you do? Like most of you, right? That's the really interesting thing about this industry is Chris is crazy, and you don't need to do business like him, and that's okay. And so am I, and probably 80% of you are going to think that what I'm doing is crazy. But back to what you said, we all got to find our lane and what like actually gets us excited to wake up and do the work that we do. So I'm going to talk to you about my process and what I went through and how I landed where I did. And hopefully you can peel something away from it and learn. Actually, one more question. Any of you have a specific thing that you were hoping to get out of this event today? None of you. Okay. How about you? Oh, you don't? Okay. You're just making me, you're making me feel better? Is that what you're doing? What do you got?
Make more friends.
Make more friends. Great place to do it. With a bunch of young people at heart, right? Anybody else have like, I really wanted to get this particular thing out of coming to this event?
Motivation.
Experience, getting out of my comfort zone.
Cool. Yeah. Spread your knowledge base. Yeah. And what was said over here?
Motivation.
Motivation. Yeah. It's a hard one sometimes. I'll promise you this, though. If you find something that you love doing, it's easier to be motivated. So I'll talk to you about that. This is the most popular house in Boise, built in the 50s and 60s. Every time we share it on our Instagram channel, it blows up. So we post it all the time. This is a home designed by Art Troutner. He is one of the, 10, 12, what we would call starchitects of the era, architects that were, stars in their own right. We have a number of these really, really, really cool homes, and then we have probably the majority of them that are just like brick ranch style homes. That's the era of home that we specialize in Boise. We usually just tell people if they're trying to understand what we do. We specialize in, we'll say, the coolest homes in all of Boise, which is true, because I dare you to find a cooler home than that. But the easier way to explain it for people who might not understand what that means is homes built in the 50s and 60s, that's what we do. This is a home that we did some work in terms of like capturing content. This is the family that lives in that home, and yes, he was glitching. That's not real. That was his wife and his dog, and you see the painting of Queen Elizabeth? He did that. So he's a creative and an artist. This is our team in one of the other really cool mid-century homes in Boise. Again, my favorite shirt. Yeah. I have two of them. Yeah, just a little bit off-colored from each other, but yeah. Really the only professional shirt I wear in the winter. Yeah, this is a cool crew of people, and we've collected them we're starting our 8th year of business. I'm excited to tell you more about them. I want to tell you how this happened. Riches in the niches, and you might think I'm talking about money, but I'm really not. I'm actually talking about the reward and the gratification of the work that you do. That's really where the riches are. So we built a real estate business with a narrow focus, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. This is my information. I'm going to show it at the end. I do welcome all of you to reach out to me and contact me. I'm totally cool with that. Like Chris, I do my best work after 9 p.m. in terms of communicating with people. But with how much time we invest in the work that we do, I really wanted to be certain that I actually loved what I was doing. Me, on the other hand, unlike Chris, I need to be in the mood. Otherwise, I don't want to do it. So, but again, I mean, that doesn't matter. You need to figure out what it is and how you need to get yourself to be productive and show up and do the work. For me, it's this. I love what we do, and I'll tell you why. I told myself if I was going to be doing this as a full-time agent, it actually needed to be around architecture like this. If anybody knows the name of this home, I'm going to talk to you after this. Does anybody know it? Oh, I'm in a room with a bunch of non-mid-century enthusiasts. Guess what I get to do? I get to convert you. My favorite evangelism strategy when dealing with the work that we do, because this home is probably one of the coolest mid-century homes ever created. This is in the Hollywood Hills and it overlooks LA. It's called the Stahl House. It's case study house number 22. And it was designed by Pierre Koenig. This photograph was actually shot by a gentleman by the name of Julius Schulman. And it is what kind of propelled his career in real estate photography, this shot. It's one of the most kind of timeless photos of that era, but specifically related to architecture. It's probably one of the most famous architecture shots. Anybody sat in an Eames chair before? This is the Eames house, which is not too far away from the case study house number 22, the Stahl House. Anybody been to Palm Springs? This is the Kaufman House. If you've ever seen Falling Water, I don't know if I have that one in here. Falling Water, and this house was actually owned by the same family. So, Kaufman family. This is actually a home in Boise. It's a little bit, modest, not as cool, modern mid-century, but is a really great home designed by Nat Adams. And then this is a home in our market designed by a gentleman named Bradford Shaw. Anybody Anybody know Frank Lloyd Wright? Raise your hand. We have one Frank Lloyd Wright structure in the state of Idaho, and it's this home right here. It's called Teeter's Knoll. And each one of these homes that I've shown you, we actually have a connection to, which is why I'm really excited about the work that I do. So this house, this is me and my wife sitting overlooking the edge there of this home at the case study house number 22, the Stahl House, on a beautiful sunny California day. This is the first time I took my team there to the house. We got there kind of earlier in the day and then watched the sun go down at this place. Super cool. Okay, pardon me, my shirt's off. But I'm going to show you something that's really, really cool. Because only friends and family actually get this kind of an invite. If you ever wondered what jumping off the roof of the Stahl House experience looked like, here it is.
Ever wonder what it's like to jump off the roof at the Stahl House?
How's that go down? Perfect. That was a pretty memorable experience for me. That people don't get the opportunity to do that. This house is made available to the public to tour, but you pay for a ticket, you don't get to do that. This is one of the Sherry Stahl and my wife and myself Sherry Stahl is one of the 3 kids that grew up in this home, and she's become a friend of ours. That's her husband, Barrett. And this house, I actually got to take our team to when we saw the Stahl house on one of our visits, and Sherry brought us over to the docent of this house and actually got us inside the Eames house, which also isn't regularly available for people to do. And this is the granddaughter of the Eames Foundation, who's in charge of the 100-year preservation plan for the Eames house, which is really cool. Can you tell I love this stuff? Okay. The Kaufman house, designed by Richard Neutra. He is no longer around, but this is his son, Dion, and I got to meet him in Palm Springs. And when I went up and introduced myself, he brought up a project that was the closest to me geographically and asked about it. I'm really glad I didn't know what the end result of this project was, because it would have crushed his heart. He said, how's the military Air Force out at Mountain Home and all the residential compound that my father designed out there? I'm like, oh, I have no idea. It was all demolished, which is super sad. But I'm glad I didn't know the answer to that when he asked me. He has since passed, and so he's got a brother who's kind of carrying on the Neutra legacy. And then this house here in Boise, we listed it, and mom and son who grew up in this house came during the open house. Maybe some of you have had that experience before, but this home was super special to their family, and it was prepped and ready and staged and looking really beautiful. It was a house, ready to be married. And they came and got to see it and kind of relive some of their memories while they were there. That was a pretty cool moment. He's an architect in town. His name's Sean Weston. I've gotten to know him over the years. And then Bradford Shaw, he designed this house. We actually got to know him through his granddaughter, who is now on our team, which is super cool. She's like 23 years old. And probably about 6 months after me and Vance is on our team, 6 months after we had breakfast with him, he ended up passing away very unexpectedly. Super sad. Sparky dude with a ton of opinions, and told us every single one of them, and it was a blast. So this is the only Frank Lloyd Wright house in the state of Idaho, Teeters Knoll. This is Henry Whiting on the right here. He has become a friend of ours, and we have had the opportunity to tour this house on multiple occasions. The last time it was made open to the public, he asked if me and Vance would come and be docents for the day and show people around and tell them the stories that we've collected over the years. And we've made our own mid-century dreams come true through the process of this, really. I mean, I love this era of architecture. If you want to talk to me offline about how that happened, I'm happy to do that. But like I said, when I started the real estate team back in late 2015, I knew that I wanted to be part of this architecture and telling the stories of it. And here's a few of the people who asked us to make their mid-century dreams come true as well. There's the Phillips House, which has graced the cover of Atomic Ranch magazine in a national publication, and also Sunset magazine in the 70s. We actually were asked to represent the sale of this home and tell its story, and have found and secured those 2 people as the new owners of this house, which is really, really fun experience. This house is actually my next door neighbor's house, and we helped bring the buyers to this property, and they have loved living there in that home. These folks, if you are into the HGTV world, have any of you seen the Boise Boys? Yes, raise of hand. Any Boise Boys fans out there? There's actually a house that they did that was on the show, and we represented the buyers. They're fun. He's a musician, but they live in this home, and we were able to help them make their mid-century dreams come true by acquiring and purchasing that home. Here's another home that we had the opportunity to help bring the buyers to. That's the couple that lives there with their 2 kids. They love that corner bank of windows. There's so much sunlight that comes in through there. And then this house, which if any of you know Eichler's or have ever heard of an Eichler, kind of has an Eichler-esque feel to it. And we helped to bring the buyers to this property as well, and they have loved living in that home. Here's a home that a lady loved in our neighborhood, who we ended up doing a home feature on before it was even for sale. And these were some of the pictures that we took. And then a couple, 3-4 years later, this is Michelle, she actually asked us to come and help her sell this property because she knew that we could tell the story of her home really well. And then here's another one these people own. And back to this one, who these people own, but the really cool story about this one is he sold that property ended up moving into a rental to find a piece of land so that he could build his dream home that he's been obsessing about over 10 years, and this is it.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really neat home. That's pretty cool. Also pretty cool that we get the opportunity to help other realtors market their properties even when they're not our listings, because they know that this is what we do and that we tell these stories really well. Anybody know who that guy is? On the left here? Anybody? Breaking Bad, do you know his name? Aaron Paul. He's like an Idaho celebrity, Boise celebrity, grew up in the area, and this is his home. You want to see a really cool home? We got invited by Piers Lamb, who was the realtor that had the relationship with him, to come in and help him market this property. And again, because we love architecture and we don't care about money, we say yes. Because this is the fun stuff for us.
This is a perfect example of modern architecture. The lines are so clean in here. It's minimal, only what is needed is here. Everything else has been stripped away. Natural light in here is huge. It's on both sides, above, it's all around. Some of them are framed different ways where glass is on one full back wall, or there's clear story windows, whereas you feel natural light coming from all directions. There are a lot of consistent elements that you see throughout, from the timber and the stone and the flooring, and just the exposed elements that were used to build the home are on display. One of the first things you notice when you walk in the home is an amazing indoor pool, and it blows you away because you're not expecting it. A huge element was the site that this is built around. There's geothermal heat springs around here that fill the pool, and functionally they also heat the home, which is very unique and was embraced by the architect. And the pool itself was big to the original owner who had the home built. She used the pool every day to soak in and take in the natural elements of that geothermal heat. This home was designed for Edith.
All right, yada, yada. I won't assume that all of you lose your mind by seeing that kind of architecture, but I do, and that's pretty cool. Geothermal pool in the middle of your house, and just wake up and jump in and it's warm, and yeah, it's pretty sweet. So that was Aaron Paul's home. He listed it a couple months ago. He never ended up selling it, still needs some work, and nobody wanted to pay $1.2 million for a 2-bedroom home, but it was cool. And we got that video, and it's like the most viewed video on our YouTube channel. So again, like there's purpose for us in partnering that way as well. So, but we really don't care about the money. I've stated that a couple times already, but I know you probably do, and you want to know. I kind of was too when I built the business. Is being niche too limiting? It's a question I hear all the time when I'm talking to people about narrowing into something that limits your opportunity because then you can't say yes to the other things. So I'll just break down the math for you on my business modeling and how it worked so that it might encourage you and inspire you to do something that you love too. Does it pay? Well, my first year, 2016, I got in late 2014, but really started early 2016. We had an average sales price of $195,000. I'm sure yours have gone up since 2016 too. And did 11 transactions. I was told that was really good in my first year, but I wanted to hit 20 and I didn't care what everybody else said. I was mad that I only half performed my goal, and I got to 2.4 million in real estate that year. Nobody knew who I was. I've never been in real estate. I didn't even know there's a term, some of the windows in that Art Troutner house are called clear story windows. And when I got in, I'm like, yeah, what are those windows up there? I was like the mid-century expert, and I had no idea what I was doing. So somebody ended up explaining to me that clear is C-L-E-R-E, clear story windows. So, you learn along the way. And it was a very challenging year for me that year. I actually ended up in a call center in October to make $200 a week for gas and groceries because I didn't have enough runway. And so I worked in a call center for 4 months while I was trying to get to my second year for the spring market to hit again. But in my second year, I ended up doing 37 transactions, just me, and 8.7 million in real estate that year. That was also a very challenging year and totally blew my mind. My third year, I did 10.4 and 39 transactions. I actually slowed down that year in my personal pipeline, and I actually worked on building the team, and I added 3 agents that year. When I built the company, I always referred to myself as my team. I used my lender, my photographer, and my mortgage or the title person as like the people on my team. But I knew it was going to be more than just me that was meeting the demand of mid-century enthusiasts in Boise who wanted these kind of properties or needed help selling them. But this year I slowed down in 2018 to add some agents to the team. We ended up doing 52 transactions and 19.2 that following year, 19.2 million. And that was really the benefits of the momentum and a 6-agent team. So it was just continuing to compound, and it was working. Fifth year, which was 2020, we did 26 million and 60 transactions. And then, wow, COVID hit, and we did that with 13 agents, but we did 16 transactions again the following year and hit 35 million. We did the same count of transactions, but we did a little bit more in business. So 35 million in real estate that year. It was myself and a team of 14 agents on the team. And then this last year, we actually dipped down a little bit in transaction count and in volume, and we hit 27 million with 45 deals. That was me and a team of 12 other agents. Worth noting here that only one person in this picture was previously a realtor. Her. That's Jennifer Pisano. And I had met her early on when I was starting the company, and she had a ton of shared values in the mid-century space and how I was building the business. Took me a while to get her to join our team, but she eventually did and saw the value of working with us, even though she makes less money by doing so. This for her is a value component where she gets to talk about and be around the architecture that she loves, and new construction and poorly built homes and suburbia she doesn't have to deal with anymore. It's kind of a permission for her to say no to that stuff. No knock to any of you that are doing that. So there is a way for us to, this way we get to train them kind of from the ground up, tell them, what it is that we do and how we do it. And there were definitely a few bumps along the way. Things not always rosy, but we've done 128 million over 304 transactions and in 7 years, and I would say at some level we're thriving, right? I know there's plenty of other teams in the Boise marketplace and the Spokane marketplace that are crushing those numbers, but I'm providing for my family and a couple other people on the team, and a handful of them do it kind of part-time just to be around and involved. And we provide kind of a livelihood for them, that we get to do something that we wake up and love doing. So here's some things that we did to get there. And again, this is probably the nuts and bolts portion of the presentation, where if you want to peel anything away from how to build a niche market, this is what we did. So I can't understate the importance of the research component of what we did. I found in my market, by talking with title, that there were 11,000 homes built in the 50s and 60s. And you can get those reports too for like neighborhoods or whatever. When I actually requested the report from them, they said, that's a really huge report. We don't really provide reports that big. I'm like, well, okay, but I need it. Can you give it to me anyway? They're like, yeah, but that's really big. And it was huge, giant report. And at the very end of that column, it was like 10,956 or something. So 350 homes sold in 2008. What I did is I went back to when things weren't great before I jumped into the business, just to see in the really bad year, how many of these sell. And 350 homes sold in 2008, which is 700 transactions, right? Buyer and seller rep on each side. 2017, 654 of them sold. So almost 1,300 transactions that we could be a part of. Last year, 430 of them sold. So anywhere from 700 to 1,300 deals to be a part of every single year. I didn't feel like that was too limiting, since we're talking about 60 transactions at best that we've arrived to so far. So we know we can't get them all. There's no way. That's not possible. But if you survey market share leaders, what's a good market share number? If you're Apple, anybody have an idea what a good market share number is? 3%. How much? 3%. That's it. You're doing something in that percentage. How about you've really arrived? What's a really great market share number that maybe is real, not fake? 10%? 15 maybe? So we know we're not going to hit much more than maybe 10% of that number, but 10% of 1,300 transactions. Who's done more than 130 deals here in a calendar year? 1, 2, 3. Is that a lot of business? That's a lot of business. I'm okay with 130 deals in a calendar year. So we've taken more than 3%. I think we can maybe get up to 8%. Our high's been 35 million. Is being niche too limiting? Answer the question. No. So 3 to 8%, 25 million to 35 million. You tell me. I don't think that's too limiting. There's plenty of niches out there. We're not the only one. But here's some things that we did that helped us kind of establish ourselves. From a branding standpoint, this was a labor for me. And I actually wasn't even a fan of it once we finally agreed to it, but now I love it. So that's our logo. We worked on that for a decent time to finally come up with something that we felt kind of represented both us and the era of home. We also did a lot of marketing, and these are the 3 most popular ways that we've done it thus far. Facebook is kind of where I started. Anybody know the name Grant Wise in here? Heard the name Grant Wise? Nobody? Okay. Check him out. He's doing some really cool stuff in the real estate marketing world, but I partnered up with him early on with Facebook, and he taught me how to market through Facebook with paid for advertisements, and that was a big help. Then we jumped into the Instagram world a little bit after that, and then a little bit after that, we finally built a website. So Facebook, we've been using for 7 years, have 4.6 followers. To be honest, I've kind of given up on Facebook, but we are revitalizing it in this calendar year. I've pushed in about $13,000 in there through some paid for advertisement stuff. Instagram, we've been using for 6 years. We have almost 37,000 followers. All of that's organic. Maybe I've spent $100 on that platform. Website, we've been using for 5 years. We get about 1,300 visits a month, which probably pales in comparison to some of you, but it shows off our body of work, and I've spent about 10 grand on the website. What else did we do? A lot of community building, because all of this architecture has people involved in it. And so there's monthly home tours that we do on the second Saturday of every month. In fact, when I get back from this, the very next morning will be our monthly home tour. We do that once a month, and anywhere from like 15 to 40 people join us. We take the 3 best mid-century homes that are currently available for purchase, and if the agents are really nice, they'll let us come in. And if they're not, then we try to find something else that's just as cool, but sometimes can't do that. But it's kind of cool because the community that's built through all the people that come, they're like regularly like seeing each other and connecting, and they learn from each other. We've done landscaping classes because a lot of our mid-century architecture in Boise does not have really great landscaping that accompanies it, but this era of architecture really celebrates that, so we're trying to up the level in that world. And we've done a couple documentary viewings like the Euler House. If you're into mid-century architecture, that is my absolute favorite documentary on mid-century architecture. It features Richard Neutra's architecture through that house and the gentleman that owns it. So how is being niche helpful? Well, here's some things. It's not all of them, but some benefits. We actually only show like 2.5 houses. There is a half. I don't agree with that. We only show half of a house. But we average about 2 to 3 houses when we're showing a client properties, because already when they come to us, we're in alignment. We know what we love, they know what they love. It's just a matter of trying to figure out like location and specific feature sets. And we can do that pretty well, and we've done that pretty well. Offer writing, 80% of our offers get accepted. The level of passion and knowledge and love and affinity for all the things that we do in this space, that gets relayed to the listing agent, and that gets relayed to the seller, and that really makes a difference, right? So we're pretty good at sales too, and obviously that helps. But I think story and connectivity is huge, and so we do a lot of connectivity in that process, and that I know benefits us. Travel time for us in Boise, at least, 5 to 8 minutes in any direction is where the majority of our inventory is. That's pretty cool. I could show a house and be back in like 30 minutes from my own home. I live in a mid-century home in a mid-century community. Marketing, we really know our audience well. We actually are our target audience. right? We actually live and own and love these mid-century homes. And so we market to ourselves, knowing that the people that are into what we do are going to find the content that we're publishing relevant. We also created top of mind awareness in 12 months, and I'm talking like nationally, because we showed up on the front cover of Atomic Ranch magazine with one of our listings. They hardly ever feature listed homes, but this home was so cool that they said we must. And in this magazine, I should actually have a couple slides on this, but I don't. They featured some of the work that we're doing in our community. So we had, in between homes featured and community spotlight, I think we had like 12 pages in this issue of Atomic Ranch magazine that was featuring the work that we were doing. Top of mind awareness in 12 months for most of us is kind of hard to do, right? But we're niche, and so you can kind of narrow in and stand for something really quick that helps you kind of rise above the pack. Agent recruiting, we attract like-minded people. I'm going to actually share one of them with you. Do you mind getting to meet our latest real estate agent? Oh, that wasn't very convincing. Maybe I should just keep going. This is Jesse. Oh, come on, Jesse. Oh. That's interesting. Yeah, I'll tell you about Jesse, but I like how Jesse told you about Jesse. That actually was the fun part. Weird. Okay. He's worked in the Apple retail in Palo Alto for the last 10 years. Never been a realtor. The competitors in our market actually told him to come talk with us. They recruited for us. Oh, it's so fun. So, yeah, I mean, he's a perfect fit. He loves people. He loves mid-century architecture. He's ready to get his real estate career started. He's moving back to the Boise area because his family's here. Gosh, I wish Jesse could tell you about Jesse. One more try. No, not happening. Sorry, Jesse. But the agent recruiting, like everybody on our team, two of the people on our team I pursued, the rest pursued us. It's kind of cool. So expansion potential, this is huge for us. We are Boise Mid-Century Homes, but we have almost 37,000 people that are following us. Only 3,000 of those people are in Boise. The rest of them are following us from afar, which means I can drop into your market tomorrow, and they already know who I am. If you're a mid-century enthusiast, you'll probably know who we are for a couple different reasons. One, I already have an Instagram account on your market. Did you know you have 18,000 mid-century homes here in Spokane? Actually, a really excellent collection of mid-century architecture here. You have I know some of you have listed mid-century homes, I'm not saying that, but there's no exclusive provider as a niche market expert. And I knew that number. You only have 2,500 agents. We have 11,000 mid-century homes and 10,000 realtors. I really want to play in your market. More inventory, less competition. And some of these pictures, if you're following us on, or if you go to that Instagram account and follow it, I've taken probably half of those, and then half of them are Zillow pictures probably. So you have a really, really cool resource here where your city cares about history and preservation. That resource, if you want to check that out, I should have put it up there, but I didn't, is called SpokaneMidCentury.org. And the Historic Preservation Officer, Megan Duvall, if you know her, she has received a grant that they implemented to document and archive like some of the top tier level mid-century architecture in your market. That website is phenomenal. Such a great resource. Here's some more pictures of some really cool homes in your market. Any of you recognize any of those? Comstock Park, like a hotbed right up there in that Comstock Park area. That's a cool little area where a lot of mid-century architecture exists. So I'm ready to expand. If you guys want to talk to me about this, I'm totally excited to have that conversation. Differentiation, no one does what we do. I'm going to play a little testimonial video for you, and you can hear how differentiation works when somebody understands and values your expertise. Maybe. Oh, no. Well, Greg had a lot of good things to say. I guess I'm going to have to tell you about him. The one really, I'll say 2 or 3 things about Greg. The house that showed up on the front cover of Atomic Ranch magazine, that was his family home. It's called the Phillips House, designed by Art Troutner. Greg said a few things. The first thing he said is, I've got a lot of realtor friends, and if this was any other home, I would have felt guilty not using them. But you guys were the expert, and I knew that you were the ones that had to sell this house. That's cool. The second thing he said was, this was a really difficult transition for us. And it was very important for us to find somebody that loved and appreciate this home as much as our family did. He actually got choked up, and it was a really emotional moment. I was hoping it was going to hit you in the heart. Dang it. Then he said at the very end, if you own a mid-century home in Boise, you'd be crazy not to call Mid-Century Homes to have them help you sell their home. So great dude, wonderful family, fantastic transaction to be a part of. There's so much more to us in this than money, and this is the joy and the riches that we actually experience. Sorry, Greg. Out of 10,000 agents in Boise, we stood out to this guy, Heritage Home Loans. He invited us to come speak today. Did I get that right? Yeah. I mean, that's kind of cool. There's a lot of good agents in Boise, but they didn't call him. Or he didn't call them. So, I mean, honestly, our production numbers, we might be in the top 20%, but we're not anywhere near the top 5%. But they didn't get called. We did. It's kind of cool. Benefits. Conclusion, niche. It actually is kind of hard to build. At the front end, if you just want to be a generalist sorry, that's not the right way to say that. That was rude. If you want to be a generalist real estate agent, you can get a start much faster. You sell everything to everybody, you can do more in the first couple years than being intentional and focused building a niche market real estate company. 100% true. But if you want to sustain yourself in a career like the work that we all do, it's a whole lot easier to do when it's natural, comfortable, authentic, genuine, and you love it. And I might even make the claim, don't hate me or throw apples or oranges at me or tomatoes. Sometimes real estate's actually not very fun. So when you wake up and get to participate in this part of it, it can help you push through those unenjoyable moments that we all experience. But it is worth it. And I'm going to leave you with this. Everybody cross your fingers. Please cross your fingers. I hope this video works. Yes! Really stunning 826 square foot, 2-bedroom, 1-bath home that you just saw there. And this is the new owner of it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
She came with us on the home tour 5 home tours ago. She's been coming for a year and a half. She was not in the market to buy a home. She doesn't do social media. We've posted that house on social media a ton. She had never seen it. She came on our home tour. We walked through that house. As we were leaving, she told 2 of us, I need to live here. This is my home. And we helped her sell her condo that was 2 miles away to move into this home that she literally will probably die in. That's how much she loves this place. Man, we love what we do. And it's such a blessing and such a reward to be a part of it. If you have any questions, you're welcome to call, text, email me. Here is my contact information. How much more time do we have? Couple minutes. Okay, I'm going to allow for 3 questions. Is that okay? Okay, question 1.
You refer everything out that's not mid-century modern?
The rule that we leverage is we have a brokerage brand called Anthology and our niche market brand called Mid-Century Homes by Anthology, but we do not really want to be a magnet for all of that other business. So what connects us is relationship. And if you've come through the filter of, like, you're a mid-century enthusiast, we've helped you buy a mid-century home, and your kid now wants to buy a non-mid-century home, we'll do that, but we make the kid promise not to tell anybody about the work that we did with them. What else? Next. You're going to steal the show? Go for it. They're good ones. I like that one. Hit me with another good one.
I love what you said as far as reaching out to property owners to profile their homes not on the market.
Yep.
What's that conversation?
We freaking love your home. Can we please what's that?
What do you do with, like, you film it, you just make content around it?
It depends on, like, what the homeowners have done with it, right? Because some of these homes, you have a Richard Neutra home in Spokane, up on the South Hill. I hope nobody knows the people that live there. Does anybody know the people that live there? They don't know what they have, and they don't treat it accordingly. So depending on who the homeowner is and what they've done with it, we might do a full feature. We actually have interns working with us at Boise State University right now who are doing some outbound to try to find more property owners that would be willing to let us feature their homes, and we just captured 3 in the last quarter.
Really?
Yeah, pretty cool.
So when you come across the people in your market that don't know what they have and you want to feature their home, do you just flip that to like an education?
They likely don't get us, and we don't get them either. It's probably the reality. Not really, but we know we're not for everybody. You know you're not for everybody, right? I mean, we're not for everybody. Our hope is we can control that inventory later. When that home sells, we'll put one of our buyers in there, and then they can do that with it, and they get us. Okay, one more question, just because I love talking about this.
Have you ever thought about, or are you in the process, or do you do any sort of like rehab, restoration, or partnering?
We flipped a home. I said I would never do it again. We took 10 months. It made national headlines. I can sell homes quicker than I can flip them. It's not worth the effort. So we just help people with all the resources of what it takes to do it. We put those resources kind of at their footstep, and then we'll be kind of big idea with them and talk shop and ideas, but we let them manage it. We don't want to middleman any of that. And we also don't want to steal all the profit out of it because they need room to make these things happen. You know? So, all right, enough chitty chat. Thank you. I'm very serious. One more thing to mention. I will be here tomorrow, and I'm going to be at the Spokane Association Realtors office at 10 o'clock tomorrow. They've agreed to give me some space so I can talk more about this with anybody who wants to talk more about this. You want to talk more about niche market? Awesome. Partnering with me? Cool. You want to talk about how we can take what you're already doing and be a little bit more thoughtful in that? I don't care. My phone number is right there. Take a picture of it. And please text me if you're going to join me, because if nobody shows, I don't want to be the only one there and feel really bad about myself. Text me and tell me you're coming, and I will be there. If nobody comes, then I'll go do something else. I'll probably check out more cool mid-century homes here while I'm here.
What time?
10 o'clock at the Spokane Association of Realtors office. Cool? Thank you.
Thank you, PJ.